Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Today, we are exploring a deeply counterintuitive approach to time management, and it's all drawn from Oliver Burkeman's really brilliant insights. We're looking head-on at the harsh, undeniable reality of our finite lives. If you are constantly feeling rushed, overwhelmed, or just perpetually behind on your never-ending to-do list, this is exactly the perspective shift you need.
4,000. That's it. That is the total number of weeks in an average human lifespan. It's a pretty raw, uncompromising mathematical reality, isn't it? When you actually frame your life this way, it immediately puts our modern obsession with busyness into a stark, almost uncomfortable perspective. Because as these remaining weeks tick by, we feel this immense, heavy pressure to make the absolute most of them. And that sets up a very specific kind of internal conflict that dictates how we spend our days.
To picture this, imagine your mind as a busy factory. On one side, you've got a pile of tiny pebbles. These are your daily obligations, the emails, the chores, the minor work tasks. On the other side, you've got a pile of massive, heavy rocks, and these represent your life-changing bucket list items in your major goals. Now, picture passing time as glass jars just endlessly moving down a conveyor belt. We are desperately trying to shove both those tiny pebbles and those massive rocks into every single passing jar. We are literally terrified of letting a partially filled jar go by because we think we're somehow wasting our lives if we do.
This frantic attempt to justify our existence by never letting a time jar pass by unfilled leads to a psychological state that Burkeman calls existential overwhelm. It's that constant gnawing anxiety that you will absolutely never have enough time to do everything you need to do, or even everything you simply want to do. Because of this fear, we end up taking on way more responsibilities than we could ever handle, and we dream up 1,000 cool things we want to accomplish before our 4,000 weeks just run out.
Well, trying to conquer this overwhelm with typical time management hacks only makes things worse. So in this explainer today, we are going to unpack 4 key ideas to actually fix this: the efficiency trap, open and close lists, strategic underachievement, and last time reflections.
Let's start right off with number 1, the efficiency trap.
Think about the paradox of efficiency for a second. If you get lightning fast at answering your emails, what actually happens? You just receive more emails in response. If you get highly efficient at conducting meetings, people notice, and suddenly you're asked to lead way more meetings. Even at home, if you're the fastest at washing dishes, guess what? You're going to be put on dish duty more often. This is the efficiency trap. The faster you clear the deck of tasks, the faster your deck simply refills with new things to do. If efficiency is your ultimate goal, you will perpetually be playing catch-up, and you will literally never achieve peace of mind.
So, how do we actually break free from this bottomless bucket list? We can look to a pretty famous piece of advice from Warren Buffett. When he was asked by his personal pilot for goal-setting advice, Buffett told him to list his top 25 life goals, ranked in order of importance. But then he delivered this incredibly jarring instruction. He said, now throw out goals 6 through 25 and never do them under any circumstance. Why? Because life is way too short to let moderately appealing goals distract you from your top 5. You have to aggressively ignore the good to protect your most vital, life-changing goals. Otherwise, you just end up overthinking, perpetually planning, and stuck right back in that existential overwhelm.
All right, moving to section 2, open and closed lists.
Here is exactly how this system works in practice. Step 1, capture everything. Every business you want to start, every skill you want to learn, every country you want to visit, put it all on an open list. Step 2, move just 3 to 5 of those goals over to a closed list. And step 3, this is the secret sauce here. Never look at the open list again until an item on your closed list is completed or permanently abandoned. You literally have to force yourself to emotionally accept that you may never finish the items on that open list. Once you accept that reality, your only concern in life becomes those 3 to 5 items. And strangely enough, this is a real game changer because it actually kills procrastination. The only way to make room for a new, exciting activity is to finish something on the closed list first to create a vacancy.
Think of this open and closed list method as calling a mental truck driver to haul away all those extra big rocks that are pulling at your psyche. Instead of this massive pile of unachieved dreams just weighing you down all day, you are left with just a few rocks that you can manage. You can successfully chip away at them and place them completely into your time jars. And once one rock is totally dealt with, you can call the truck driver back and select a new one. It entirely removes the stress of the clutter.
Which brings us to section 3, strategic underachievement.
Look, as driven individuals, we usually want to be great at everything we do, but being excellent at low-value activities usually means a good portion of your 4,000 weeks is going to feel completely meaningless. So ask yourself, can you clean your house just 80% and still feel satisfied? The key here is to identify your low-return responsibilities at home and at work and ask yourself what the absolute bare minimum is that you can do to get by. You do this so you can make time for what actually matters.
Let's look at another one. Can you take twice as long to respond to your emails without actually angering anyone? Can you cut the lawn half as frequently and still feel like you're managing your yard? By asking these questions, you are actively and purposely reducing your standards. Doing just enough or simply being good enough at most tasks creates vital space in your life. Remember, your time is strictly limited. You simply cannot do everything to perfection.
Author John Acuff hits the nail on the head here. He says, when you decide in advance what things you're going to bomb, you remove the sting of shame. Embracing strategic underachievement is a totally necessary and healthy trade-off. It allows you to be intentionally bad or just average at some things so that you can be truly excellent in a select few areas, and you do it all without feeling guilty. You are consciously, strategically choosing exactly where to place your finite energy.
And finally, Section 4, Last Time Reflections.
You know how it goes. The busier you get trying to fill your weeks, the faster life just seems to pass you by. Because you and I don't know exactly when our 4,000 weeks will end, Burkeman suggests this really radical thought experiment. Assume every experience is happening for the very last time. Now, while that might sound a little gloomy at first glance, assuming it's the last time actually pulls you completely out of autopilot. We usually assume that because we've done something 1,000 times, we'll just do it 1,000 times more, so we completely stop paying attention to it. But treating a moment as the last time immerses you entirely in the present. It actively stops you from just rushing to the next thing on your to-do list.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. What if you treated your next cup of coffee like it was your absolute last, or the next conversation with your partner, or even the next time you listen to your favorite song? When you finally embrace your finiteness instead of fighting it with endless productivity hacks, even the most mundane daily routines become rich and beautiful and engaging. It completely changes the experience of living. It really leaves you to wonder, how much more could you truly enjoy your 4,000 weeks if you finally stopped rushing, stepped off that conveyor belt, and simply paid full attention to the jar right in front of you?